Admiral Kim Do-yun walked through the metal halls of Nexus Prime, the biggest trade station in known space. His boots made soft sounds on the floor as he tried to keep his face calm. Behind him walked Captain Park Min-ho and Dr. Choi Soo-min. All three humans wore their best uniforms, but they still felt small in this place. The station was huge. It spun slowly in space, creating fake gravity for the thousands of aliens who lived and worked there. The humans had been here for 3 days now, trying to make deals for Earth. So far, nobody wanted to talk to them. Admiral, Captain Park, said quietly, "The Vorthak delegation is waiting in conference room 7. Kim nodded. The Vorthak were big, lizard-like aliens with sharp teeth and yellow eyes. They controlled a large part of this galaxy. If humans could make friends with them, Earth would be safe. If not, well, Kim tried not to think about that. They reached the conference room. Inside, 5 Vorthak sat around a metal table. Their leader was called High Chancellor Vex. He was twice as tall as Kim and covered in dark green scales. When he spoke, his voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "So," Vex said, "the little mammals from Earth come begging again." Kim felt his face get hot, but he kept his voice steady. "We come seeking trade agreements that benefit both our peoples." The Vorthak laughed. It was not a nice sound. "What could your primitive world possibly offer us? You have been in space for what, 50 years? We have ruled the stars for 10,000. Dr. Choi stepped forward. She was small and quiet, but very smart. "We have rare Earth elements, metals, that are hard to find. Our planet has lots of them." "Ah, yes," another Vorthak said. "We know about your little rocks, but why should we trade fairly for them? You need our protection more than we need your metals." Kim's hands made fists, but he kept them at his sides. It was true. Earth had a small space fleet with old ships. The aliens had weapons that could destroy planets. Humans needed friends, out here, or they would not survive long. "What do you want from us?" Kim asked. Vex smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "All of your rare Earth elements. Every last bit you have mined or can mine for the next 10 years. And what do we get in return? Our protection, of course. And perhaps some old equipment we no longer need." Captain Park spoke up. "What kind of equipment?" "Scrap metal, broken ships, junk from old wars. We were going to throw it away anyway." Kim felt sick. Earth needed those rare metals to build better ships and defenses. Trading all of them for garbage seemed like a terrible deal. But what choice did they have? "Can we see this scrap metal first?" Dr. Choi asked. The Vorthak looked surprised. "You want to examine our trash? If we are trading our planet's treasure for it, yes." Vex made a sound that might have been laughter. "Very well. Come." They left the conference room and took a transport to the station's lower levels. Here, the air smelled bad and the lights were dim. They passed through several security doors until they reached a massive cargo bay. Kim stopped and stared. The bay was enormous, bigger than a football field. And it was full of broken alien technology. Ships that had been cut apart, weapons with holes blown through them, engines that looked melted, and piles of metal that he could not even identify. "This," Vex said with pride, "is our gift to humanity. 30,000 tons of the finest scrap in the galaxy." Captain Park walked closer to examine a broken ship hull. "These pieces are from different species. Of course, this is scrap from many wars over many years. Vorthak, hegemony, and dozens of smaller races that no longer exist. All worthless now." Dr. Choi was already moving between the piles, taking readings with a small device. Her eyes were wide as she looked at the scanner. "Admiral," she said quietly, "some of this technology is very advanced. Much more advanced than what we have seen before, but it is broken," Vex said. "Useless. Our best engineers could not fix it, so we kept it only to remind us of our victories. Kim watched Dr. Choi continue her scanning. She moved from pile to pile, and her excitement seemed to grow. Finally, she came back to the group. "The offer," Kim said to Vex, "is all our rare earth elements for 10 years in exchange for this scrap and your protection?" "Correct. It is more than generous for such a young species." Kim looked at his people. Captain Park looked doubtful. The deal seemed terrible. But Dr. Choi was nodding slowly, a strange look in her eyes. "We need time to discuss this," Kim said. "Of course. But do not take too long. Other species are always willing to accept our generosity." The humans left the cargo bay and found a quiet corner of the station. Captain Park immediately spoke up. "Admiral, this is a bad deal. We give them everything valuable we have, and they give us broken junk." "I know how it looks," Kim said. "But Dr. Choi, you seemed excited down there. What did you find?" Dr. Choi was still looking at her scanner readings. "This scrap is not just from different species. It is from species that had completely different ways of thinking about technology. The Vorthaks see it as incompatible junk because they cannot understand how to combine different approaches." "What are you saying?" "I am saying that each piece represents a different solution to the same problems we face: energy, defense, propulsion, communication. If we could study how each species solved these problems, we might find ways to combine their solutions into something new." Captain Park shook his head. "That sounds impossible." "Maybe for them," Dr. Choi said. "But humans are good at taking broken things and making them work. We have been doing it our whole history." Kim thought about this. Earth was desperate. They needed protection and they needed technology. The rare Earth elements would run out eventually anyway. Maybe this crazy idea was their only chance. "Can you really do it?" he asked Dr. Choi. "Can you make something useful from that junk?" She looked at him with determination in her eyes. "Give me the best engineers on Earth and enough time, and I will build you something the galaxy has never seen before." Kim made his decision. He walked back to find Vex. "We accept your offer," he said. The Vorthak leader seemed pleased. "Excellent. Your species learns quickly when to accept charity." Kim signed the papers and arranged for the scrap to be sent to Earth. As he watched the aliens celebrate their clever deal, he wondered if Dr. Choi was right. Could humans really turn junk into something powerful? Only time would tell. But for the first time since arriving at Nexus Prime, Kim felt a small spark of hope. The aliens thought they were giving humans garbage. Maybe they were about to learn how wrong they could be. 6 months later, Chief Engineer Kang Hyun-soo floated in zero gravity inside the cargo bay of Prometheus Station. The secret base hung in the asteroid belt, hidden from alien eyes. Around him, pieces of alien technology floated like strange metal sculptures. "Dr. Choi, can you hand me that power coupling?" he called out. Dr. Choi Suman pushed off from a wall and drifted over with the device. Her hair floated around her head like a dark cloud. "This one came from a Threnody ship. See how the metal repairs itself when it gets damaged?" Kang took the coupling and examined it closely. "Amazing. Our metals break and stay broken. This stuff actually gets stronger when you try to destroy it." They were not alone in the bay. Specialist Bei Seojin worked on a pile of weapons systems, while technician Oh Minji studied what looked like a melted engine core. All around them, Earth's best scientists and engineers worked to understand alien technology that was supposedly worthless. Captain Park Min-ho floated nearby, watching the work. "Any progress on the power problem?" Dr. An Kyung-min looked up from a complex device covered in crystal formations. "I think so. These Alkari energy collectors are designed to contain plasma that burns hotter than our sun. But they need a specific type of fuel that does not exist anymore. So they are useless? Not necessarily. The Keth had a different approach to energy. They used dimensional folding to create power from empty space itself. If we could combine the Alkari containment system with Keth dimensional technology, could that work? Captain Park asked. Dr. Choi answered. Theoretically, yes, but it has never been tried before. These two species probably never even met each other. Their technologies were designed to work in completely different ways. Kang smiled. Good thing we humans are stubborn. The work was not easy. Every day brought new challenges. The alien technologies seemed to actively fight against being combined. Energy systems that worked perfectly alone would explode when connected to other species' equipment. Hull materials that were incredibly strong would dissolve when exposed to certain power frequencies. Lieutenant Yuhana had arrived 2 weeks ago to work on targeting systems. She floated over to where Kang and Dr. Choi were working. I have been studying the Vanthari stealth technology, she said. It bends light around an object to make it invisible, but it only works if the ship does not move too fast. That is still useful, Captain Park said. Wait, there is more. The Nexari had shield systems that could absorb energy attacks and redirect them back at enemies. What if we could combine stealth with energy redirection? Dr. Choi's eyes lit up. A ship that is invisible and can turn enemy weapons against them. That would be impossible, Dr. An said, but he was smiling. The power requirements alone would be enormous. Unless, Specialist Bay called out from across the bay, we use this. He held up a device that looked like a metal sphere covered in moving parts. Chronari power source. It pulls energy from somewhere else. I do not understand how, but it never runs out. The team gathered around the device. It hummed softly and gave off a warm blue light. Where does the energy come from? Minji asked. That is the mystery, Bay said. The Chronari were extinct before the Vorthak even evolved, but their technology still works. Dr. Choi scanned the device carefully. It is accessing what looks like a pocket dimension, a space that exists alongside our reality but separate from it. Is that safe? Probably not. But neither is being helpless when the next alien empire decides to conquer Earth. The work continued day and night. The team learned to think like aliens, to understand how different species approached the same problems. The biomech had created living metal that could grow and repair itself. The Etherian had found ways to make solid matter become ghost-like, able to pass through other objects. Captain Park received regular reports from Earth. The aliens were getting suspicious about human activities. Vorthak ships had been seen near. The outer planets and hegemony spies were asking questions about Earth's mining operations. We need to work faster, he told the team. Intelligence suggests the aliens are planning something. How much time do we have? Kang asked. Maybe 3 months before they come looking for answers. Dr. Choi looked around at the scattered pieces of alien technology. Then we better start putting this puzzle together. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Minji was working late one night when she noticed something strange. 2 pieces of equipment that had been violently rejecting each other suddenly stopped fighting when a third device was placed between them. Dr. Choi, she called out. You need to see this. Dr. Choi rushed over, still wearing her sleep clothes. What happened? I was trying to connect this Vorthon neural processor to an Alkari power cell. Every time I got close, they would overload and shut down. But when I put this Etherian phase modulator between them, the 3 devices hummed together in perfect harmony. Energy flowed from the power cell through the phase modulator and into the neural processor without any problems. The phase modulator is acting like a translator, Dr. Choi said with excitement. It is converting the energy signature so the devices can communicate. This discovery changed everything. The team realized that many extinct species had developed technologies specifically designed to work with other species' equipment. These universal interfaces had been scattered throughout the scrap pile, overlooked because nobody understood their purpose. Within weeks, the impossible was becoming possible. Stealth systems worked alongside shield generators. Weapons powered by dimensional energy could fire continuously without overheating. hull materials that combined the best properties of dozens of different alloys. Lieutenant Yu Hana made another breakthrough with the targeting systems. I have been studying organic computing from the Zephyrin Empire. Their computers were grown, not built. They could adapt and learn in ways our computers cannot. Can you make it work with our systems? Better than that. I can make it work with everything. Organic computers can interface with any technology if they are designed correctly. They could control all our combined systems as if they were one single machine. Captain Park watched as his team performed miracles every day. Slowly, a design began to take shape. Not just a ship, but something entirely new. A vessel that combined the best technology from dozens of extinct civilizations, held together by human creativity and determination. What should we call it? Kang asked one day as they looked at the preliminary designs. Something that honors what we are doing, Dr. Choi said. We are not just building a ship. We are giving these dead civilizations a chance to live again, to have their knowledge mean something. Captain Park thought about the Vorthak and their laughter when they had given humans worthless junk. He thought about Earth, small and vulnerable, depending on aliens who saw them as primitives. We call it retribution, he said. The name felt right. The aliens had given them garbage, expecting humans to be grateful for scraps. Instead, they were creating something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy. The work continued. Every day brought new discoveries, new ways to combine impossible technologies. The ship began to take shape in the construction bay, looking unlike anything that had ever existed before. From the outside, it looked rough and patched together, like the junk it was made from. But inside, it housed the combined wisdom of civilizations that had ruled the stars when the Vorthak were still learning to make fire. Dr. Choi stood in the observation deck, watching the construction. They think they gave us their trash, she said to herself. They have no idea what they have really done. Captain Ryu Tae-hyung stood on the bridge of the HSS Retribution, looking out at the stars through the main view screen. The ship was finally complete after 8 months of impossible work. From the outside, it looked like a collection of scrap, metal welded together. But Ryu knew better. All systems report ready, Captain, said Commander Song Yura from the tactical station. Her fingers moved across controls that glowed with soft alien light. The weapons systems were unlike anything Earth had ever built before. Navigation is online, reported Lieutenant Commander Nam Ji-ho. The stellar maps are updating themselves as we speak. The navigation system used Etherian phase technology to peer through space itself, seeing farther than any human ship had ever seen. Dr. Han So-young, the chief medical officer, checked her readings from the medical bay. Life support is stable, but I'm still not sure how it works. The air recycling system seems to be alive somehow. That was the biomech technology, Ryu knew. Living metal that breathed and grew and healed itself. The entire ship was part machine, part organism, and part something else entirely that human science did not have words for. Arya, are you ready for our first real test flight? Ryu asked. The ship's artificial intelligence answered from speakers throughout the bridge. Her voice sounded human, but with strange harmonics that suggested something deeper. All systems integrated and functioning, Captain. I am eager to see what we can accomplish together. Arya was perhaps the strangest part of the ship. Dr. Lim. Wu Jin, the science officer, had created her by combining human neural networks with alien quantum consciousness matrices. She was not just a computer program, but something closer to a digital soul. Take us out slowly, Ryu ordered. Let's see how she handles. The Retribution lifted away from Prometheus Station with surprising grace. The engines made no sound, drawing power from the Chronari dimensional source that tapped into energy from empty space itself. As they moved, the ship seemed to ripple and shift, the hull adjusting to the stress of acceleration. This is incredible, Nam Ji-ho said, watching his instruments. We are moving at normal speed, but the engines are barely working. It is like the ship is sliding through space instead of pushing through it. Etherian phase technology, Dr. Lim explained from his station. The ship exists partially in normal space and partially in subspace. Friction and resistance are almost zero. They flew for an hour, testing basic systems. Everything worked perfectly, almost too perfectly. The ship anticipated their needs, adjusting course before they asked, optimizing power flow without being told. It was like the vessel was alive and eager to please. "Aria," Ryu said, "you seem different than when we first activated you. More aware." "I am learning, Captain. As the ship's systems integrate more completely, I gain access to new information. The technologies we have combined carry memories with them, echoes of the civilizations that created them." Dr. Lim looked up sharply. "What kind of memories?" "Technical knowledge mostly. How to optimize energy flow, how to repair damage, how to fight." Arya paused. The species that built these systems were very good at fighting. Before anyone could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the bridge. Commander Song's tactical display lit up with red warnings. "Captain, we have company," she reported. "3 hegemony ships coming fast." The hegemony ships were sleek insect-like, vessels with multiple weapon pods. They moved with deadly grace, clearly intending to intercept the retribution. "They must have detected us leaving Prometheus Station," Namjiho said. Ryu thought quickly. This was their first real test, but not the one he had planned. "Area, can we outrun them?" "Easily, Captain. But they have already transmitted our position to other ships. Running will only delay the confrontation." "Then what do you suggest?" "Let me show you what we are capable of." The 3 hegemony ships opened fire without warning, sending streams of plasma toward the retribution. Ryu braced for impact, but the shots seemed to pass right through the ship without causing any damage. "We are phased," Arya explained calmly. "Their weapons cannot touch us while we exist partially in subspace." The hegemony ships, confused by their failed attack, moved closer to investigate. As they did, the Retribution's hull began to change color, shifting to match the starfield behind it perfectly. "Now we are invisible to their sensors," Arya said. "Vanthari stealth technology." "But they can still see us with their eyes," Commander Song pointed out. Not for long. The ship suddenly split into 7 identical copies, each one moving in a different direction. The hegemony ships scattered, trying to track all the false targets. "Holographic projectors from the Mirage Coalition," Dr. Lim said with amazement. "I thought those were just theory." 6 of the copies faded away, leaving only the real ship behind the largest hegemony vessel. The alien crew never saw them coming. The Retribution's weapons fired once, sending a focused beam that disabled the enemy ship's engines without destroying it. The other 2 hegemony ships turned to attack, but the Retribution was already gone, reappearing on their opposite side. This time, the weapons were different. Instead of energy beams, the ship fired something that looked like liquid metal. The substance spread across the enemy hulls and began eating through them. "Nanite disassemblers," Commander Song said, reading her tactical display. "The hull breach will seal itself once the ships are disabled." Within minutes, all 3 hegemony ships were floating dead in space, their crews alive but their vessels completely powerless. "Impressive," Ryu said, "but now they know we exist." "They knew something was happening," Arya replied. "Now they know. They should be afraid." Dr. Lim was studying his scanner readings with excitement. "Captain, I am detecting something strange. The ship's performance improved during the fight. The weapons became more accurate, the stealth more effective." "Adaptive combat systems," Arya explained. "The ship learns from each encounter, optimizing its responses. The more we fight, the better we become." Ryu looked around his bridge at his crew. They all seemed amazed by what they had just experienced. The ship had fought with technologies that none of them fully understood. Yet everything had worked perfectly. How many different civilizations contributed to our systems? He asked. 17 major species, 43 minor ones, Arya answered. Each brought their own approach to warfare, defense, and exploration. Combined together, they create possibilities that none of them could achieve alone. And the memories you mentioned, they grow stronger as the ship's systems mature. I am beginning to understand not just how these technologies work, but why they were created. The histories of dead empires, the dreams of extinct species, the last hopes of civilizations that fell to time and war. Commander Song checked her communications. Captain, we are receiving transmissions from Nexus Prime. The hegemony is demanding an explanation for the attack on their ships. Tell them it was self-defense, Ryu said. They fired first. Sir, I do not think they will accept that answer. Ryu, looked out at the stars, thinking about Earth and the small human fleet that was still no match for the major alien powers. But now they had something new, something that could change everything. Arya, in your opinion, how would the Retribution fare against a larger enemy force? Unknown, Captain, but I believe we would surprise them. The ship's potential is still largely untapped. Each system we activate reveals new capabilities. Then, I think it is time to return to Earth and show Admiral Kim what we have built. As the Retribution turned toward home, its hull rippling with alien energies, Ryu wondered what the galaxy would think when they learned that humans had turned junk into something magnificent. The aliens had given them scrap metal, expecting gratitude. Instead, they had created something that might just change the balance of power among the stars. Arya, he said quietly, remind me to send a thank you message to High Chancellor Vex when we get home. Shall I include details about what we have accomplished with his generous gift? Ryu smiled. No, let that be a surprise. High Chancellor Vex slammed his clawed fist on the metal table, making the other Vorthak jump. His yellow eyes burned with anger as he read the report again. Impossible, he growled. 3 hegemony ships disabled by 1 human vessel? This must be a mistake. War leader Thaxon, his intelligence chief, shook his head. I have confirmed it with multiple sources. The human ship appeared from nowhere, used unknown weapons, and vanished just as quickly. The hegemony crews describe technologies they have, never seen before. Across the galaxy, Queen Mind Zephys of the hegemony was having a similar conversation with her advisors. The insect-like ruler's compound eyes glittered with concern as Hive Admiral Scrix delivered his report. The ship matched no known design, Scrix said, his mandibles clicking nervously. It appeared to phase in and out of normal space, becoming intangible when attacked. Our weapons passed right through it. Humans do not possess such technology, Queen Mind Zephys stated. We have studied their primitive vessels. This must be a trick. Perhaps they have found new allies, suggested another advisor. Meanwhile, on Earth, intelligence analyst Quan Deho sat in a secure bunker beneath Sol, listening to intercepted alien communications. His job was to monitor what the major powers were saying about humanity, and lately, the conversations had become very interesting. They are scared, he reported to Admiral Kim Do-yun during their weekly briefing. The Vorthak have increased patrols near our territory. The hegemony is asking questions about our mining operations, and at least 4 other species have sent spy ships toward Earth. Admiral Kim studied the intelligence reports. What about our trade partners, the species we have been working with since the Nexus Prime Agreement? Most are staying neutral, but some are asking uncomfortable questions. Ambassador Shin Minky reports that the Galactic Council is demanding a formal explanation about the hegemony incident. Kim rubbed his temples. The plan had been to keep the Retribution secret until they were ready to reveal it. But Captain Ryu's encounter with the hegemony ships had accelerated everything. Far from Earth, the Retribution continued its secret missions. Captain Ryu and his crew had rescued human colonists from 3 different pirate attacks, explored dangerous regions of space that other ships could not reach, and gathered intelligence on alien military movements. Lieutenant Park Yunji maintained detailed logs of each mission. She noticed that the ship seemed to get better at everything it did. The stealth systems became more effective, the weapons more precise, the hull more responsive to damage. "It is like the ship is evolving," she told Dr. Lim Woo-jin during one of their science briefings. Dr. Lim nodded thoughtfully. Arya has been accessing something she calls the memory vaults. Each time we encounter a new situation, she learns from the experiences of the extinct civilizations whose technology we carry. Is that safe? I honestly do not know. But the knowledge we are gaining is incredible. Dr. Choi Sumin, now serving as the ship's chief technology officer, worked closely with Arya to unlock new capabilities. They had discovered that the ship could do things that should have been impossible even by alien standards. "Show me the dimensional storage again," she asked Arya. The ship's AI complied, opening a panel that revealed what looked like a small closet. But when Dr. Choi stepped inside, she found herself in a vast warehouse filled with spare parts, weapons, and supplies. "The space exists in a pocket dimension," Arya explained. "The Chronari developed this technology before they transcended physical existence. We have enough supplies to operate independently for decades." "Transcended physical existence?" Dr. Choi asked. "Some species do not die in the traditional sense. They evolve beyond the need for physical bodies, becoming beings of pure energy or consciousness. The Chronari were one such species." Dr. Choi felt a chill. "Are you saying we are carrying the technology of gods?" "Not gods, but beings who achieved things that seem godlike to us. Their final gift to the universe was this technology, waiting for a species clever enough to use it properly." The conversation was interrupted by Captain Ryu's voice over the communication system. "All senior staff to the bridge. We have a situation." When they arrived, they found the bridge tense with activity. Commander Song was tracking multiple contacts on her tactical display, while Nam Jiho worked frantically at the navigation controls. "What is it?" Dr. Choi asked. "Vorthak battle fleet," Captain Ryu replied grimly. 47 ships, moving directly toward Earth. They will arrive in 6 days. The implications hit everyone immediately. This was not a patrol or a diplomatic mission. This was an invasion force. "Arya, what are our options?" Captain Ryu asked. "Limited," the AI replied. "We are 1 ship against 47. Even with our advantages, those odds are challenging. Could we warn Earth in time? Yes, but Admiral Kim's fleet consists of 26 ships with conventional weapons. They would not stand a chance against a Vorthak battle fleet." Dr. Lim looked up from his science station. "What if we do not fight them directly? What if we use our capabilities to even the odds?" "Explain." "The retribution can phase through solid matter, correct? What if we phased into their ships and disabled them from the inside?" Arya considered this. "Possible, but dangerous. If the phasing fails while we are inside another ship, both vessels would be destroyed." Commander Song had another idea. "We could use the dimensional weapons, disable their engines without destroying the ships. Against 47 targets? Even if we worked perfectly, it would take hours. They would adapt to our tactics." Captain Ryu made his decision. "Arya, I want you to access the deepest memory vaults. Find everything you can about fighting impossible odds. These extinct civilizations must have faced similar situations." "That is dangerous, Captain. The deeper memories are more alien, harder to understand. I might learn things that change how I think." "Do it anyway. Earth is depending on us." Arya went silent for several minutes. Her processing power focused entirely on the ancient memories stored in the ship's quantum cores. When she spoke again, her voice sounded different, older somehow. "I have found something," she said. "The Transcendent Armada once faced a similar situation. 1 ship against an entire empire. They used a technique called reality cascade. What does that mean? The ship temporarily manifests technologies from civilizations that evolved beyond physical existence. It becomes something that should not be possible in normal space. Dr. Choi felt that chill again. What are the risks? Unknown. No species has ever attempted to use transcendent technology while still bound by physical laws. We might transcend as well, or we might simply cease to exist. The bridge was silent as everyone absorbed this information. They were talking about using the technology of beings who had evolved beyond the need for physical bodies. It sounded like madness. How long until the Vorthak fleet reaches Earth? Captain Ryu asked. 5 days, 18 hours. And how long? To reach Earth ourselves? At maximum speed, 4 days. Captain Ryu looked around at his crew. These people had followed him into the unknown, trusted him with their lives as they built something impossible. Now he was asking them to risk everything for Earth. All hands, he announced over the ship's communication system. This is the Captain. In 5 days, a Vorthak invasion fleet will reach Earth. We are the only thing standing between our home and conquest. What we do next will determine the future of humanity among the stars. He paused, gathering his thoughts. We have a choice. We can run, hide, and watch Earth fall, or we can stand and fight, using weapons and technologies that our enemies think are impossible. Lieutenant Park Yoonji spoke first. Earth gave us this mission, Captain. We will not abandon it now. One by one, every crew member voiced their agreement. They would fight no matter the odds. Arya, Captain Ryu said. Set course for Earth, maximum speed. Course laid in, Captain. As the Retribution accelerated toward home, its hull beginning to glow with energies that existed outside normal space, Captain Ryu wondered if they were heroes or fools. Perhaps, he thought, there was no difference. The galaxy was about to learn what humans could accomplish when they had nothing left to lose. The Vorlak Nebula glowed with the light of dying stars as the largest space battle in galactic history began. Admiral Kim Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the human flagship, watching 300 alien warships surround his small fleet. Earth's 26 ships looked like toys compared to the massive vessels of the six-species alliance. Admiral, reported Captain Park from the communications station, Supreme Commander Grax is demanding we surrender the Retribution and all related technology immediately. Kim looked out at the enemy fleet. Vorthak battleships like moving mountains, hegemony swarm vessels bristling with weapons, and ships from 4 other species that had joined the alliance out of fear, all because of one human ship built from scrap metal. Where is Captain Ryu? Kim asked. Holding position at the edge of the nebula, sir. The Retribution is difficult to track on our sensors. Kim understood. Even friendly ships had trouble detecting the hybrid vessel when it did not want to be found. To the aliens, it probably seemed like a ghost ship, appearing and disappearing at will. Supreme Commander Grax's voice boomed across all frequencies. The massive Vorthak commander spoke from his flagship, a vessel so large it had its own gravity. Humans, Grax declared, you have violated galactic law by developing weapons of mass destruction. Surrender your ghost ship, and we will allow your species to continue existing as our servants. Admiral Kim activated his own transmitter. We built one ship from the junk you gave us. If that threatens you, perhaps you should have given us better junk. The alien response was immediate. Weapons began charging across the enemy fleet, creating an aurora of deadly light in the nebula's gas clouds. On the Retribution, Captain Ryu watched the enemy preparations with his crew. The ship hung in normal space and subspace simultaneously, invisible to most sensors, but able to observe everything. 300 ships, Commander Song reported grimly. Even if we disable half of them, Earth's fleet will not survive the battle. Arya, Captain Ryu said, are you ready to attempt the reality cascade? The ship's AI had been silent for hours, accessing the deepest memory vaults. When she finally spoke, her voice carried harmonics that made the bridge crew shiver. "I have learned much, Captain. The civilizations that created our technology faced this same choice many times. Fight and possibly transcend, or surrender and certainly die. What did they choose? They chose to become something greater than they were. It is time for us to make the same choice." Dr. Lim Woo-jin monitored his instruments as alien energies began flowing through the ship's systems. Technologies that had been dormant since the fall of extinct empires came online for the first time in millennia. "Captain," he reported, "the ship is accessing power sources I did not know existed. We are drawing energy from the quantum foam, itself from the space between dimensions." The retribution began to change. Its hull shifted and flowed like liquid metal, growing new structures that defied physical laws. Weapons emerged that fired reality itself as ammunition. Shield generators created barriers of crystallized time. "All ships," Grax commanded the alien fleet, "attack the human vessels. Capture their ghost ship intact if possible." The battle began with a roar of weapons fire that lit up the nebula like a newborn star. Plasma beams and missile swarms crossed space toward the human fleet. Admiral Kim's ships returned fire bravely, but they were completely outmatched. Then the Retribution entered the fight. The ship appeared in the middle of the alien formation, moving too fast for weapons to track. But it was not just moving through space anymore. It phased in and out of reality itself, existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Impossible!" breathed Fleet Empress Vorthal from her command ship. "No technology can do that." The Retribution's weapons fired once, sending pulses of energy that passed through the hulls of enemy ships without damaging them. Instead, the pulses disabled every electronic system they touched, leaving the vessels floating helplessly in space. 12 ships down," Commander Song reported. "No casualties, just complete system failure." But the alien fleet was enormous. Even as the Retribution disabled ship after ship, hundreds of weapons continued firing at Earth's fleet. 2 human vessels were destroyed, their crews lost in bursts of brilliant flame. "We are not fast enough," Captain Ryu said. "Area, we need more." "Accessing final protocols," the AI replied. "Warning, what happens next may change us permanently." The ship suddenly split into dozens of copies, each one real and solid. The reality cascade was creating multiple versions of the Retribution, each existing in its own dimensional space, but able to affect the physical world. The alien commanders watched in horror as impossible numbers of ghost ships appeared around their fleet. Each Retribution copy fought with the knowledge and technology of 17 extinct civilizations, adapting its tactics to counter every defense. "This cannot be happening," Supreme Commander Grax roared. "Our scientists said this was impossible." Dr. Yoon Sabyul watched the battle from Earth's Orbital Defense Center. Her instruments detected energy signatures that made no scientific sense. The Retribution was using technologies that bent the laws of physics like flexible rules. "Admiral Kim," she transmitted, "I am reading impossible power levels from your ghost ship. It is accessing energy sources that exist outside our universe." On the Retribution's bridge, the crew experienced something beyond normal human understanding. Through Aria's connection to the memory vaults, they felt the presence of extinct civilizations, species that had transcended physical existence millennia ago. "We are not alone," Dr. Choi whispered. "They are here with us, all of them." The voices of dead empires spoke through Aria, sharing knowledge that transformed the ship into something that had never existed before. Technologies that created matter from pure thought, weapons that fired concentrated time, shields that existed in tomorrow as well as today. The alien fleet began to retreat, but the Retribution copies surrounded them effortlessly. One by one, alien ships found their weapons disabled, their engines stopped, their crews unharmed but completely helpless. Surrender. Captain Ryu broadcast on all frequencies. Your weapons cannot touch us, but we do not wish to destroy you. We offer you the same choice you gave us, accept our terms or face the consequences. Supreme Commander Grax tried one final desperate attack, ordering his flagship's most powerful weapons to fire directly at the nearest retribution copy. The energy beam struck the ship and simply vanished, absorbed into the quantum foam that the vessel now controlled. Enough, the alien commander said finally. We surrender. The battle was over. 300 alien warships floated helplessly in space, their crews alive but their vessels completely disabled. Not a single shot had been fired to kill, only to stop. The retribution had shown mercy that terrified the aliens more than violence would have. As the multiple copies of the ship merged back into one vessel, Captain Ryu felt the presence of the extinct civilizations fading. The transcendent technologies powered down, returning to dormancy. Arya, he said quietly, are you still with us? I am here, Captain. Changed, but still myself. The memories of the dead will always be part of me now, but I remain loyal to humanity and to this crew. Admiral Kim's voice came over the communications channel. Captain Ryu, that was... I do not have words. We kept our promise, Admiral. Earth is safe. In the aftermath of the battle, word spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. The species that had been dismissed as primitive scavengers had built something that challenged the fundamental laws of reality. Ambassador Shin Minky found himself in an unprecedented position at the Galactic Council. Species that had ignored humanity for years now requested formal diplomatic meetings. The balance of power had shifted overnight. What do you want from us? Asked the representative of the crystalline hegemony during an emergency council session. Ambassador Shin smiled. The same thing we have always wanted: fair trade, mutual respect, and the right to exist as equals among the stars. High Chancellor Vex, his pride wounded but his species intact, approached the human delegation after the council meeting. Your ghost ship, he said quietly. It could have destroyed us all. Yes, Ambassador Shin replied, but we chose not to. Perhaps that tells you something about who we really are. On the Retribution, now orbiting Earth as humanity's guardian, Captain Ryu looked out at the stars and thought about the journey they had taken. From worthless junk to the most powerful ship in the galaxy, all because humans had the stubborn refusal to accept that something was impossible. Arya, he said, what do you think the aliens learned today? They learned that giving humans their garbage was the worst mistake they could have made. The AI replied, with something that might have been amusement. But more importantly, they learned that we are not conquerors. We are builders. We take broken things and make them whole. Dr. Choi joined him at the observation window. The other species are requesting copies of our technology. What should we tell them? The truth. We will share what we have learned, but only with those who prove they will use it wisely. The galaxy has seen enough war. As Earth's sun set behind them, painting the planet in shades of gold and red, Captain Ryu thought about the message he would send to every species in the galaxy. It would be simple and clear.